there, it is me, ADFG 616, and I come to you with a Rick and Morty theory. Spoilers ahead for Rick and Morty Season 3, Episode 7. And just spoilers for Rick and Morty. But this theory is based off of Season 3, Episode 7 of Rick and Morty. So let's get right into this. So my theory is that Morty will be the one to stop evil Morty. And I do have a little bit of evidence for this. So, the reason that I think that Morty will be the one to stop evil Morty, and perhaps even accidentally, is two things. One of them has to do with the comics. I'll do the one that has to do with the comics thing after. But in Season 1, Episode 8, I think, which is Close Rick Encounters with the Rick Kind. That's the episode that Evil Morty first comes in. But I believe the evidence that I come from there, this isn't evidence that I strongly believe in, but it does help support my theory. It's the one true Morty thing. I don't know, I think it was probably just a one-off joke, but it might be real. But I'm pretty sure it was just a one-off joke. But just in case, Morty was the one who stood up and led the other Mortys to rebellion. So perhaps, now that evil Morty has taken over the Citadel, perhaps evil Morty will start becoming harsher towards the Mortys. Morty c-137 will come in, and c-137 Morty will lead a rebellion against evil Morty with the other Mortys. Then again, that isn't the substantial evidence. The evidence that I really wanted to make this video about is the one from the comics. See, the evil Morty storyline from the TV show is drawing a lot of parallels to the Doofus Jerry storyline of the comics. In the Doofus... So, here's some spoilers for the Rick and Morty comics, too. But in the Rick and Morty comics, it turns out that the Doofus universe that Doofus Rick is from is actually the opposite universe and not the weakest universe. Because in the other universes, Rick is the most powerful being, but in the Doofus universe, Rick is the weakest being, and Jerry is the most powerful being on Earth. When in the normal universe, Jerry is the weakest being on Earth. So, and in the comics, Doofus Jerry steals Doofus Rick's portal gun and travels to Earth dimension C-137, traps C-137 Jerry into the main. So basically, I'm just gonna call the dimension that the Rick and Morty that we currently follow most of the time lives in dimension. I'll just call it Dimension X. Okay, for now. So Jerry X goes to the Doofus dimension, Dimension D, I'll call it. So Jerry X goes to Dimension D, where he meets up with Doofus Rick, and they have some fun times. But Doofus Jerry steals the portal gun that Jerry X took off of Rick C-137 and used to go to the Doofus dimension, and he also steals Doofus Rick's portal gun and travels to Dimension X and takes over the family. And so Doofus Jerry stops Rick C-137 at every turn. And Rick C-137 is powerless. So what Rick does is he sends Doofus Jerry to the Citadel of Ricks. But this is before the... Okay, so also spoilers for Season 3, Episode 1. But this is before Rick C-137 killed the Council of Ricks. And so it's before Rick c-137 killed off the Council of Ricks in Season 3, Episode 1. And so what happens is Doofus Jerry goes to the Council of Ricks, and everyone in the council and everyone at the other world, everyone in the Citadel of Ricks, just thinks that Jerry's weak, and they all think that the Doofus dimension is the weak dimension, but when in actuality it's the opposite direction, where Jerry's are the alpha males. And so Jerry, what he does is he finds a machine that he uses to alter his physiology. There's a joke about how the last Jerry who went into that machine came out with 2 butts. But yeah, so the Jerry goes in there and makes it so that his skin excretes a modified version of a poison that he created. And because in the Doofus universe there was an attack of alien parasites on Earth. And so Doofus Jerry, what he did was he developed a poison that was like their kryptonite, kind of, and it drove off the parasites. So Jerry altered his physiology so that he could excrete an altered version of that chemical that was poisonous to Ricks by will. So he could, whenever he wanted to, if a Rick defied him, he could gas up the place and the Rick would die instantly. And so Rick ends up taking him down with a Power Rangers-esque Megazord. But, they don't take him down. Jerry also has his own Power Rangers-esque bad guy who defeats Rick c-137's Power Ranger thing. But then Jerry appears because Jerry X appears because Jerry and Doofus Rick, to get to the Citadel of Ricks, Doofus Rick created some portal juice that you would just have to pour it on yourself, and then you could travel to whatever dimension you liked, but you'd have to flip through a bunch of other dimensions first. But they do that, but Jerry drinks some of the portal fluid, and so what happens is he accidentally defeats Doofus Jerry when Doofus Jerry attacks Jerry X and punches him in the gut, and Jerry X spits out the portal fluid, which opens up a portal to a world ruled by giant worms. And then a giant worm eats Doofus Jerry, and then the portal closes, cutting the worm in half. So yeah, that's basically how the Doofus Jerry storyline went. And then the Evil Morty storyline is kind of like the Doofus Jerry storyline, where they have an evil version of one of the main family, one of the Smith family, take over the Citadel of Ricks. Except this time it's Evil Morty, not Doofus Jerry. So I believe that something similar will happen where Morty will defeat Evil Morty, just as how Jerry X defeated Doofus Rick. But yeah, so that's the end of my theory. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. Ding, 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 bing, ding, 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 and comment your thoughts on this theory. Do you think my evidence is sound, and do you have any other evidence that either disproves this theory or supports it further? Feel free to argue in the comments with whatever. And this video probably won't have a thumbnail for a long time. And I'm also going to be working on another Rick and Morty theory. Bird Person is Morty's real father, not Rick. So stay tuned for that. Ha 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 ha. Oh, and also remember to watch Rick and Morty. It's a great show, and if you have access to them, well, if you have access to the show, and if you have access to comics, I would also highly suggest reading the Rick and Morty comics because they are excellent. Mwah, mwah. Alright, so that's all for this video, and I'm just gonna dab here for an extra 30 seconds about. I was also working on another theory a while ago, but it was disproven with the Rick Shank redemption. The theory was that evil Morty would be the one to save Rick. But I guess that ain't the case, because now evil Morty's the one taking control of the Citadel of Rick's. And also, Rick saved himself. I probably should have expected that much. But that's the end of this video. Goodbye.